All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakwa Kwadash, that belong to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, blessings, salutations to the full elect that is out there pushing, laboring, believing, and listening on to this truth with heart and sincerity. I already made a blessed election be upon your houses. All right, the title and topic of this lesson is going to be on New Year's, all right, and the origin of New Year's, okay? And real quick, I have here there's an New Year's goes back to this ancient god named Janus, right? This Roman pagan god, and I just typed it in here on Google, and it says the celebration marked the beginning of the month of January, which was dedicated to Janus, the god of beginnings and transitions. Janus, often depicted with two faces, one looking forward and the other looking back, symbolize the passage of time and the idea of reflection and anticipation, right? And when you really go back to the, origin of the names of these months, a lot of them go back to these pagan idol gods, right? These Roman or Greek gods. All right, and for January is Janus, as you can see. Look at the spelling, right? Janus for Janus, and January for January. All right, but that whole New Year's Eve, that whole celebration, that whole holiday really goes back to that pagan god Janus. All right, and I have an article here. All right, and it says Janus and the Ritual of the New Year by Sarah Long. All right, and we read a little bit on it. It reads. A Roman god with no Greek counterpart, Janus was deeply entrenched in the physique of Rome, born long before the Greek pantheon was adopted by the Romans. Strange and ancient Janus was depicted with two, sometimes four faces. One face is always looking back, reflecting, analyzing, learning from the past. The other looking forward, eyes filled with hope to the future. More metaphor than God, Janus presided over doors and gates, and more importantly, what they represented transitions. Ovid describes two-headed Janus, an opener of the softly gliding year, as a bit of an enigma. Janus did more than make sure people entered doorways in ways that would bring luck. He had a hand in everything, invoked at the start of every sacrifice, perivere of all that begins again, the father of the beginnings, right? So they would put that idol god on doorways, on gates and so forth. And it's crazy. We were talking about that idol god Janus, and brother mentioned it that when we go to camp, we take this elevator, all right, and in that elevator it has a writing that says Janus on it. All right, so how they did it back in the ancient days when they were basically worshiping that idol god, they put Janus on the doorways and gates. They have it right there on the elevator, right? And I read a little bit more. It says, beginnings were sacred to the double-faced God, though he could be found on either side of the threshold. An exit is the same as an entrance, depending on which side you view it. Time is an Ouroboros, a snake eating its own tail under his protection, where the beginning of the day, the month, and the year, the first month, January, it is named for him, right? Showing you and proving to you, hey, these months, that we know now, the name of these months be going back to these ancient pagan gods. All right. And it continues on, said, but those are also the end of the previous a chapter closing, which he looks upon thoughtfully. The beginning of the time period is not a static state, but a transition, a doorway. Janus oversaw all transitions, tangible or not, a step over a threshold, a new year, moon cycles, new schools or jobs, birth and marriage and death, roads that separate the city from the country, the thin, terrible divide between war and peace. National Romans had a penchant for doorways, superstitions. As they were traveling, Romans went through ceremonial gateways with intent to bring good fortune to marching armies, traveling merchants, and the common folk. Sometimes an image of a key or the very likeliness of the guy with two faces was carved above doorways to remind Romans to walk through doors with intention, literally and figuratively, else they might risk bad luck upon their transitions. All right, so there's still some more on there. This is on the commonera.com. If you want to read it, it's titled Janus and the Ritual of the New Year by Sarah Long. All right, so hey, ain't nothing different than now, right? Because what do people say when it's the New Year's? How do they celebrate? It says, New Year, new me, new beginnings, new opportunities, this, that, and the third. They have all these celebratory things that they do. All right. Whole time people don't know what they really worshiping, man. Right? In reality, you really worshiping a false god, right? A pagan god, right? A Roman god, right? Going back to Janus, right? That's the true origins behind New Year's. All right. And it's demonic, man. That's through, right? Worshiping another god, these false idol gods, man. Right? Two-faced, right? Says sometimes four-faced. All right. You know, and that's really the origin of New Year's that we know today, right? The New Year's celebration that we know today, right? It goes back to that, right? It goes back to Roman, pagan customs, man, right? Ways of the heathen, ultimately. All right, but yet you have plenty of Jake, right, that will go and worship, New Year's and have fun and do the whole countdown and be all up in that spirit and making New Year's resolutions and all these different things. Whole time, right? They're really, following after, heathen customs. They're really following and worshiping, a false, a Roman god, right, which is truly Janus. All right, because look at what they did back then, right? They same thing that they do now when it's New Year's, right? Getting ready for new beginnings, this, that, and the third is the same thing they did back in the ancient days when they were worshiping Janus. All right, the same outlook, the same mentality that they had back then is the same mentality they have now when it comes down to New Year's. All right. All right, so that's just a little bit of history, a little bit of facts to show you, the origin of that, in other words, demonic holiday, man. Right. This is Ecclesiastes, the 7th chapter, verse 4. And it reads, the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth, right? And people are in the house of mirth, man. Ultimately, that makes them foolish, man, right? Because they're celebrating these pagan holidays, right? Like New Year's, right? You have 4th of July, Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, all these other, pagan holidays, right? These demonic holidays that really goes back to, heathen customs and demonic things, right? That's what is, these people are celebrating, right? They're in their mirth on New Year's, right? When in reality, they shouldn't even be on their mirth on that day, right? It is more wise to be in the house of mourning than to be in the house of mirth, man, right? That is what it's like in this place, man. Right? People are celebrating, popping bottles, fireworks, and so forth, living their best life. In this place, being in that YOLO mentality, whole time they're worshiping a false a Roman god. All right, right. The Lord sees these things. Right. That's why the Lord is fed up with this place. That's why the Lord's gonna get ready to come down with the wrath that He's gonna come down on this place. All right. Cause hey, Babylon is through. This is wickedness at another level. This is high level wickedness on a grand scale. All right. This is John the 4th chapter verse 22, and it reads, "Ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is for the Jews." Right? These people celebrating New Year's not knowing what they worshiping, man. Right? They thinking it's just, New Year, it's a new beginning, new start. That's the same mentality they had when they were, worshiping Janus, right? Right? In their mind, they think, oh yeah, we're just worshiping a new year, a new start, this, that, and the third. But the whole time they're really worshiping a pagan god, right? A idol god, right? A Roman god, a heathen god, right? A false god, you know? That's really what they're doing, okay? Even if in your mind, right, some of the world may be like, oh no, I don't look at it like that. New Year's means this and that to me. It means that to me. I have this outlook. I do it because of this. I don't celebrate because of that. No, ultimately, you're still worshiping that a false god, that Roman god, Janus, right? Even if in your mind you think, oh, you're doing this or you're doing it for that or you celebrate this, no, it ultimately goes back to you worshiping that Janus, that false god Janus. All right. No matter how you try to look at it, how you try to spin it, how you try to word it, you're still worshiping that false god Janus. All right. That's why it's important to do the research. It's important to know the origins of a lot of these these holidays that are celebrated in Babylon, man. Because when you do that research, you go get down to the nitty gritty. You see the origins of damn near all these holidays go back to false gods, right? Heathen customs, demonic things. All right. And once you do find that answer, I could say, or find the origin of these things, hey, at that point, that's when you're supposed to, stop. Stop following after the ways of the heathen. Stop following and worshiping these false gods, these idol gods, right? And come and serve Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. But yet you have our people that even after knowing the truth, they will still continually serve these false gods, and still continually worship these holidays that goes back to these false ancient gods, or goes back to demonic things. All right. At that point, hey, them people, hey, they cooked. In other terms, man. All right, because you've been warned, but yet you still choose to ultimately serve the world, right? Choose the world over, choosing Yahweh Shem Al Shai. All right, and the outcome to those that choose the world over serving Yahweh Shem Al Shai, the judgment that comes to them is a terrible judgment, man. A judgment of destruction, ultimately. All right. But that's the majority of these people out here, man. They just celebrating things, worshiping things, not knowing what they doing, man. All right. And those that do know what they doing, they'll still continually do it, man, not caring. This is Matthew, the 24th chapter, verse 37, and reads, it's like you, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage unto the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Right? And that's what we're seeing now, right? What are people doing on New Year's, right? They're partying, drinking, living it up, like no regards, living in that YOLO spirit, not worrying about anything that's going on around them. That's how these people be on New Year's shit. That's how these people be on all these Babylonian demonic holidays, man, right? From your New Year's, your Easters, your Valentine's Day, your Christmases, your Halloweens, your Thanksgivings, your 4th of July's, your Memorial Days, all these different, wicked holidays that Babylon has that they observe and celebrate. That's how people be, man. Living it up. Not knowing that what they're celebrating or partaking in is through, all right, ultimately demonic. But yet they're still doing it, man. So just like in the times of Noah, when they were partying, living it up, drinking, right? That flood came through, right? And the same thing's gonna happen now, right? The doors of this spiritual ark is open, all right? And that, flood about to come through, and it's not about to be by water, but hey, it's about to be through them thermonuclear ICBM missiles, man. All right, this time around, right? That fire. All right, so if you don't want to be caught outside of the spiritual ark, if you don't want to be caught in the crosshairs of those missiles, all right, the crosshairs of that fire, ultimately, what do? Right? You forsake this world, you put off this world, you stop celebrating these wicked holidays, you stop worshiping these false gods, all right, and you come and serve Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right, you put off that old man, you be renewed, you come into the light ultimately and serve Yahweh Bashem Al Shai with whole heart sincerity, right? Repent, right? Pray, fast, repent. Ultimately, and do everything that you can possibly do to be found pleasing in the sight of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right, because those that choose to keep worshiping these false gods, right? These Roman gods, these ancient false pagan gods like Janus and so forth. All right, those that choose to keep worshiping and following after their customs and celebrating all of their holidays and so forth. All right, those are gonna be the ones that's gonna be caught, hey, in a terrible position, man. Right? They're gonna be on the receiving end of the Lord's wrath, and that's the last place that you want to be, man. All right, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of Yahweh Hashem Al Shai. All right, so to avoid that, we have to do everything that we can possibly do to be found pleasing in the sight of Yahweh Hashem Al Shai in the day of His visitation. All right, back onto the planet Earth. But ultimately, that's the point. Lord, when this was edifying to the elect of Israel, I'll give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Kwakwadash, that belongs to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are well. Peace, blessings, salutations to the elected out there pushing, laboring, believing, and looking onto His truth with our sincerity. Until next time, Shalom, and above all, Kwame Shalom.